Joining me now in our civil discourse segment is strategist Bobby Eberle and Democratic strategist Jonathan Harris. Jonathan Harris, Bobby Eberle, thank you both so much for joining.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
It's great to have you both. President-elect Trump promising a mass deportation of illegal immigrants, starting with what he's calling criminals first on day one. He said that he'll start with local sheriffs and law enforcement enforcing this. Bobby, I'll start with you. You being in Texas, how can he financially and practically carry out these mass deportations?
Well, I think you're going to see a two-pronged approach. I believe Tom Homan is actually here in Texas meeting with Governor Abbott, talking about ways to facilitate this type of ejection, basically mass deportation of these criminals. If you recall from the stats, there's over 16,000 known criminal murderers in the country, 25,000 known rapists. And so him starting there is a really good sign. And as far as facilitating these, we just have to, this is where the money needs to go. I think in the next phase, you're going to see some pressure put on businesses, almost a self-deportation. If the businesses aren't hiring, the people will return. But in this phase, the finances need to be provided by the federal government to get these people out. This is what people voted on when we saw the crime spiking in Manhattan, say, and we saw these cases like Lake and Riley and others. The need for action was clear, and he's going to deliver.
Jonathan, I'll give you a chance to respond. And is there a legal basis for some of these sanctuary cities and states to challenge these deportations?
And we know that crime data has shown that crime has dropped dramatically under Biden. I do think that when Trump was president the first time, Democratic governors and Democrats in the House and Senate were very effective at slowing and stopping a lot of the extreme things that he wanted to do. And so I do think that there will be a legal basis for that. The majority of this country actually voted against Donald Trump. That's very, very important to talk about when we talk about whether or not he would have majority support for some of these unpopular policies.
Bobby, I'll give you a chance to reply.
Yeah, absolutely. I disagree with probably 100% of what was said. The FBI put out a retraction to their statement that they made earlier during the campaign, which was used so much by left-wing legacy media, saying that the crime did indeed rise. During the summer, Manhattan put out a stat saying 2/3 or 3/4 of their summertime crime spree was done by illegal aliens. That's just a fact right there. So people voted on this. The polling showed it going in, the exit poll showing going out, that this was a major, major driver. And for someone to win 312 electoral votes, win the popular vote, it's considered a mandate by any standards. So people are on board. I don't know how much patience they'll have as the policies are implemented. I hope they give the president and his team a chance to actually get this done. But the mandate is there, the stats are there, and hopefully action will be implemented and done quickly.
Jonathan, some critics say that large-scale deportations of illegal migrants would negatively affect the U.S. agricultural industry. Do you think there could be incentives given for providing Americans with those jobs? And would there be any effects on food prices and availability?
I mean, look, there have been countless studies done that have shown that getting rid of undocumented immigrants in this country would adversely affect our economy. I mean, I'm not sure that, I want to be very clear, I'm not suggesting that that's a reason to keep people in the country who are here illegally, but I'm saying that if your concern is purely economics, there's been plenty of data to show that it would harm the economy. A lot of these people pay taxes. They don't get anything back for the taxes that they're paying because they can't file a tax return. A lot of these people work for wages that are much lower than Americans would work for. If you talk about jolting the economy with getting rid of the labor that's provided by undocumented immigrants and then trying to employ Americans who are not going to work for those wages, I think you're talking about some clear, obvious, countless articles that document this, jolts and hindrances to economic growth. He started crashing the economy in 2019, and it was due to his trade war with China and some of his other policies.
Bobby, with regard to trade wars with China and economic policy, Trump yesterday announcing another 10% on China. This is coming, with mixed reviews. What is your take?
Well, first, let me address some of the points that were made earlier. I do believe, right, that there are studies that show the economic benefit of some, especially seasonal workers, agricultural workers. And so I think that is an important part of an overall immigration reform plan. I think too many times it was used to say, hey, these people are coming, so let's make a path to citizenship. Let's allow illegals to just pour in. I do believe that if we want that economy to continue to work, then sure, let's open up a path of discussion, a guest worker program where people are documented for the sole purpose of this seasonal work. Then they return to their countries and everything is accounted for. As far as China and the overall economy, I think tariffs can be used as a great negotiating tool to bring people to the table. If they don't want to have that tax on those goods, people too quickly say that, oh, this is just going to be a tax that's passed on to the consumer. But how many times in the past has it been used to bring a country to the negotiating table, whether it's for that certain economic benefit, manufacturing, car making, whatever, or a much larger foreign policy initiative? I think it is a great tool to bring these countries to the table, to get them to do what the United States wants to do. And the president has a pretty good track record on that.
Jonathan, just in fairness, President Biden, he did leave in the Biden administration those Trump-era tariffs on China all in place and, in fact, added to them. So doesn't that speak to perhaps the level of efficacy on those?
So if Donald Trump had been able to do whatever he was doing and not crashed our economy, that would have been fine. But he didn't. He crashed our economy. And when you look at what The Economist said, you can go back and read these articles. They have not been scrubbed from the internet. They document at the time that he was slowing our economy in late 2019. And it was predominantly because of what he was doing with the trade wars with China. I'm not saying the tariffs don't work at times.
Bobby, I have 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Please,
the
I'm sorry,
data speak to an economy that had record low unemployment, record low inflation, job growth. I mean, the unemployment of every sector was down to 40-year lows. Inflation, which was the bane of the Biden administration, was non-existent under the Trump administration. The reason he won, in addition to the border, if I could finish, please, is the fact that people wanted more money in their pockets. They knew how the economy was under Trump, and they wanted that back. They wanted that feeling of economic freedom, and that is why they voted for the president. And it was nice to at least see an acknowledgement that tariffs can be used as a leveraging tool. So I'm glad we have agreement on that. And I think President Trump is going to unleash a great economy, and we're going to see the effects of putting the Biden administration behind us and making America great again.
Certainly a passionate,
it would be the first time.
Passionate discussion. Really appreciate both voices here. Truly do. Bobby Eberle, Jonathan Harris, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.